Hello, my wonderful friends, and welcome back. Let me ask you something. Have you ever bought a beautiful piece of clothing only to get it home and realize it somehow makes you look bigger than you actually are? It's one of the most frustrating style challenges, and so many of us have been there. The good news is, it often comes down to a few common design details that are easy to spot once you know what to look for. Today, we're turning 7 of these style mistakes into 7 simple principles for looking elegant and feeling incredible. This is the kind of practical, confidence-boosting advice we explore together every week. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our tips. All right, let's dive right into our first tip. Tip 1. Wearing color-matching outfits. Have you ever put on a simple, one-color dress hoping for that effortlessly chic look? But when you looked in the mirror, something just felt a little flat. So many of the wonderful women I work with believe that a solid, monochromatic outfit is the secret to a streamlined silhouette. And while that can be true, if it's just one large, unbroken block of color, it can sometimes have the opposite effect. Without a clear line for the eye to follow, it can inadvertently create a wider surface, sometimes making our shape appear a little broader and shorter than it actually is. The secret design principle here is all about creating a column of color to guide the eye vertically. Imagine this. A simple top and pants in a soft neutral, like cream or charcoal, on the inside. Then, you layer it with a beautiful open blazer or a flowing cardigan in a contrasting color. Instantly, the edges of that outer layer create 2 powerful vertical lines that draw the eye up and down, making you look taller and incredibly elegant. Have you ever tried this layering technique? It's a simple switch that can be a real game changer. Now, if you love a one-piece solution, an optical illusion print can be your best friend, but you have to be selective. Look for those brilliant dresses that use darker panels along the sides. I was just helping my dear friend, Mary, find an outfit for an event, and we found a dress like this. Honestly, the way it instantly sculpted her figure was just incredible. It was like magic. It's amazing what a thoughtfully chosen print can do, isn't it? And we noticed that when she wore her hair in her sharp, classic bob. It just enhanced that beautiful long line even more. It truly is about the entire picture. Now, working with lines and illusion is a designer's favorite tool, but while some lines can create a beautifully sleek silhouette, others, especially certain geometric patterns, can send the eye in a completely different direction. Tip 2. The truth about stripes and plaid patterns. We've all heard that one ironclad fashion rule since we were young, haven't we? Horizontal stripes make you look wider. But what if I told you that's only half the story? It's true that very bold, high-contrast horizontal stripes can draw the eye from side to side, which can create an illusion of width. But the real issue isn't just the direction of the line, it's about the scale and subtlety. A classic, fine-striped Breton tee, for instance, has a completely different, more sophisticated effect than a chunky, wide-striped sweater. The nuance is everything. But here's a designer's secret that I share with the women I work with. You can create that beautiful lengthening effect without using a single printed stripe. Instead, think about vertical textures. A beautifully soft rib-knit sweater or a pair of elegant pleated trousers create those subtle vertical lines that elongate your silhouette without being overty. Think about your own closet. Do you have any textures that create that subtle vertical line? It's often in the pieces we feel most confident in. A perfect example of this is a pair of flowing, wide-leg pleated trousers. The pleats create a graceful, uninterrupted line from your waist to the floor. Another incredibly flattering option is a diagonal stripe, often found in a classic wrap dress or top. Those diagonal lines are magic. They draw the eye inward and down, beautifully defining the waist. Just last week, Susan and I found a beautiful wrap top with a very subtle diagonal stripe, and the effect was absolutely stunning on her. This idea of a flattering cut and line is so crucial, and it doesn't just apply to patterns. It's even more important when we talk about the foundation of so many of our wardrobes. A great pair of pants, especially denim. Tip 3. Rethinking denim, beyond the skinny jean. Jeans. Is there any single item in our closet that can bring us so much joy when we find the right pair, and so much frustration when we don't? Let's talk about it. Many of us have been told for years that the skinny jean is the modern go-to. But for women in this season of life, they can be tricky. When the fabric is too thin and overly stretchy, They tend to cling and highlight areas we'd rather skim over, creating a feeling of being constricted rather than supported. On the other end of the spectrum, the barrel jean, with its curved, voluminous shape, can add width right where we don't want it. But the secret to fantastic jeans after 50 isn't about giving them up. It's about upgrading our perspective. The key lies in two words: fabric and cut. Instead of thin jegging material, look for premium denim with a bit of weight and structure. It holds you in and smooths your silhouette beautifully. Instead of a restrictive skinny cut, explore the elegance of a classic straight leg, the sophistication of a trouser cut, or the modern confidence of a high-waisted wide-leg jean. What has your journey with jeans been like? I'm always so curious to hear which cuts make women like us feel absolutely incredible. My advice is always to start with a beautiful dark wash in a straight leg or a subtle boot cut style. A woman I work with, Karen, had sworn off jeans for years. She felt they just didn't work for her anymore. We found a pair of dark wash trouser cut jeans, and it was a revelation. She said she felt powerful and put together, not squeezed in. That's the feeling we're all looking for. And finding that perfect pair of jeans creates such a wonderful foundation for an outfit. It's like creating a beautiful canvas. But once you have that canvas, the way you accessorize can either elevate it to a masterpiece or throw the entire look off balance. And that often comes down to one key element. Tip 4. The power of proportion. Let's talk handbags. So, what is that one key element I mentioned? It's the one accessory we carry almost every single day. And it has a bigger impact on our overall look than we might think. Our handbag. Now, we've all seen the trend of the tiny, micro handbag. While it might look charming on its own, when carried by a woman with a more substantial and beautiful frame, it can create a jarring visual contrast. The extreme difference in size can, paradoxically, make our own silhouette appear larger. But this goes much deeper than just one trendy bag. This is about a core design principle I call the rule of scale. It's the idea that your accessories should be in harmony with your own unique frame. This applies to everything. A delicate, tiny pendant might get lost, whereas a slightly more substantial piece of jewelry makes a confident statement. A very skinny belt can sometimes visually cut you in half, while a slightly wider one can beautifully define your waist. Take a look at the bag you carry most often. Does it feel like a confident partner to your look? Or does it feel a bit overwhelmed? It's a fascinating thing to consider. My advice is to think of your handbag not just as something to carry your things, but as an anchor to your entire outfit. Look for a beautifully structured tote, an elegant satchel, or a chic, slouchy hobo bag that feels purposeful. I always advise the women I work with, like my friend Jennifer, to choose a bag that feels both functional and proportional. When she switched from a tiny crossbody that she felt was age-appropriate to a classic leather tote, she said it instantly made her feel more polished and in command of her look. This principle of creating a beautiful, harmonious balance is so important. We want our accessories to complement our shape, not fight it. And the same exact principle applies to the silhouette of our clothing itself. Sometimes, a design that promises a loose, comfortable fit can actually work against us by adding volume in unexpected places. Tip 5. The silhouette secret: navigating tiers, ruffles, and volume. Let's talk about those designs. I'm thinking specifically of the multi-tiered dress, often called the prairie or peasant dress. It promises a breezy, romantic, and comfortable fit. And I completely understand the appeal, but does it always deliver on flattering our shape? The challenge with this design is that each tier, each horizontal seam and ruffle, adds another layer of fabric. From a designer's perspective, it creates multiple horizontal lines that break up the beautiful, natural vertical line of your body. Instead of skimming your curves, it can create a kind of stair-step effect that adds bulk, particularly around the hips and thighs. The fabric choice here is also critical. A stiff cotton will make the tiers stand out even more, adding significant volume. It's a style we see everywhere in stores, especially for spring and summer. Have you ever tried a tiered dress and felt like it just wasn't quite right? Even if you couldn't quite put your finger on why, you are certainly not alone. So, what are the alternatives that give you that same feeling of effortless grace? My number one recommendation is the wrap dress. It is the universal MVP of dresses for a reason. The diagonal line beautifully creates a waist. The V-neck elongates your torso, and the fabric drapes rather than puffs. A classic A-line dress is another wonderful choice. as it gently skims over the hips, creating a timeless and graceful shape. A woman in our community, Linda, recently shared a photo of herself in a simple, elegant wrap dress after years of trying to make tiered styles work for her. The difference was stunning. She looked confident, poised, and her beautiful shape was celebrated, not hidden. Choosing a clean silhouette like a wrap or an A-line dress allows your own beautiful shape to be the star of the show. It creates a perfect, elegant canvas. And once you have that canvas, you can decide how you want to bring your personality to it. For so many vibrant women like us, that often means using color and pattern, but just like with silhouettes, the wrong pattern can sometimes overwhelm that beautiful canvas. Tip 6. Finding your perfect print. Pattern with purpose. So let's talk about bringing that personality to our elegant canvas. I absolutely love when women in this season of life embrace bold, beautiful prints. It speaks to a vibrant spirit. But there's a fine line between a pattern that celebrates you and one that completely takes over, right? The issue with some very large, loud, or overly busy patterns is that they can overwhelm your frame. The eye gets drawn to the chaotic print itself, rather than to your radiant face and beautiful presence. My guiding principle here is about scale and harmony. The scale of the print should feel harmonious with your own frame and personality. The goal is to find a print that complements you, not competes with you, instead of a generic, loud floral. Consider more sophisticated options. Think of an abstract, watercolor-style print with softer, blended edges, or a timeless, elegant classic like a small-scale herringbone or a refined paisley. There are also stunning tonal patterns, like a jacquard, where the design is woven in the same color as the fabric, adding luxurious texture without shouting. What's your relationship with patterns? Are you a solids person through and through, or have you found a type of print that just feels perfectly you? This is such a personal part of our style journey. If you love color but are wary of all-over prints, my best advice is this. Choose a stunning solid color for your main garment. A dress in a rich emerald green or a beautiful sapphire blue makes a powerful statement on its own. Then, you can introduce that splash of pattern in a more controlled, chic way through a gorgeous silk scarf, a statement shoe, or an elegant clutch. A woman I adore working with, Patricia, always felt busy prints were too much for her. We found a stunning cobalt blue dress for her and paired it with a scarf that had a beautiful abstract print. She looked, and more importantly, felt absolutely radiant. Finding that perfect, sophisticated print is such a wonderful way to express your joyful personality. And that desire to express fun and personality can also lead us toward clothes with more unusual, quirky design details. But just as with patterns, some of these fun details can actually work against our goal of a sleek, elegant silhouette. Tip 7. The elegance of structure over volume. So, let's look at those fun details. I'm talking about things like bubble hems, excessive ruffles, or puffy sleeves that are meant to add a touch of whimsy and personality to our clothes. And while a little flair can be wonderful, some of these details can add volume in ways that disrupt the clean, elegant line we want to create. The core issue is that these voluminous details can create a shape that isn't true to your own, often adding bulk where you least want it. My guiding principle, and perhaps the most important one I share with the women I work with, is to always prioritize structure over volume. What does that mean? It means looking for a garment with a beautifully defined shoulder seam, a clean and sharp hemline, and darts or tailoring that gently shape the waist. These structural elements work in harmony with your body. Unnecessary volume, on the other hand, can create a shapeless effect that hides you. This is a big one, and it's something I see a lot in current trends. Do you find yourself drawn to simpler, more structured pieces? Or do the more voluminous, romantic styles appeal to you? It's so interesting to see what makes each of us feel our best. So instead of a top with large, overwhelming puffy sleeves, perhaps consider one with a beautifully tailored shoulder and a delicate, interesting detail at the cuff. Instead of a bubble hem skirt, choose a classic A-line or a sleek pencil skirt that follows your curves beautifully. True, lasting style fun doesn't come from a fleeting, quirky detail. It comes from the deep confidence you feel when you know your clothes are exquisitely flattering your shape. That feeling is absolutely timeless. And really, that idea finding confidence from a flattering silhouette is the thread that ties all 7 of these principles together. So in the end, please remember that these aren't restrictive rules. They are powerful design principles meant to empower you. Style in this season of life is all about celebrating who you are. Right now, with confidence and grace, I would love to hear from you. Which of these principles resonated with you the most? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Ultimately, this is what our community is all about. Building a wardrobe and a style that is truly and unapologetically chic over 50. If you believe in celebrating style at every age, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to become part of our wonderful community. We'd be honored to have you